I want you to do is I'm going to challenge you. Here's your challenge. Go to your truck. Take the front axle ratio and the rear axle ratio, add them together. So take the front and the rear, add them together. Then subtract it from the GVWR of the truck. I guarantee you it's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 pounds difference. And you're going to find that 500 to 1,000 pounds is what your hitch rating is. So I'll give you a great example. So I added this Chevy the other day. The front axle and rear axle came out to 14,750 pounds. But the GVWR was 14,000. So why is it when I add the axle ratios, it comes up to 14,750, but the GVWR is 14,000? Well, the hitch is rated for 750 pounds of tongue weight. So tongue weight is already factored in. So your payload is what your payload is supposed to be if you're towing with a hitch weight of 750 pounds. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important on a truck camper because a lot of guys like to tow a boat, a side-by-side, maybe a show car or sports car, maybe some kind of Jeep or off-road vehicle to go off and tear up the desert or tear up the mountains. Not literally, but metaphorically, right? So there's a big math equation to it all, but it's so simple, yet people make it overcomplicated. Like, for example, if you go to a 24-inch Stinger, you lose 20% of your tow capacity. For every 6 inches after 24, if I remember the math correctly, you lose an additional 10%. So if you tow 20,000 pounds as your max, you're basically towing between 15 and 16 max on a 24-inch Stinger. How much do real boats weigh? Probably between 9 and 10,000 pounds. So you're just fine, as long as you're within the tongue weight and as long as you're within the payload capacity. Now, here's the problem that a lot of people don't understand. Folks that buy truck campers are overweight, well, I don't know, more than 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, people who have truck campers in the back of their truck are overweight between 250 and 500 pounds. Why? Because you got to factor yourselves, fuel, camping supplies, maybe some dogs, maybe some kids. I have met in the last year, I've only met one person that is within spec of their truck. And their truck camper has no bathroom and weighs 850 pounds, and they have a 2009 Chevy 2500 short bed. Only people I've met that's within spec of their truck on that truck camper. Everybody else I've met, usually they're right around 250 to 500 pounds overweight, even factoring in the hitch weight add-on. So we have to understand also that truck camper companies outside of one or two stamp a base weight on their truck camper. They don't weigh it with options. That means there's only 2 campers in the entire industry that are accurate in weight. And one of them is by order only. That's it. But even then, when it gets shipped to you, it's still stamped with the base weight. One company you order completely online, it starts with the base weight. By the time you add all the options, they tell you exactly what the camper is going to weigh. But when it comes in, stamped with the base weight. So I always tell folks, look, Whatever you see on a truck camper sticker, add about between 500 and 1,000 pounds, and that's the real weight of the camper as it sits with water. There's a lot of companies, actually the super majority of companies, don't account for generator, don't account for the solar panels, don't account for the air conditioner, the furnace, the refrigerator. They basically don't add any of the appliances into the weight. It's a base weight. Now, do I understand why? No, I don't know why. That's why I'm very careful about who I sell things to and why ask a bunch of questions. I've torn up deals this year. In a slow year, I've walked people out the gate when we put a truck camper on their truck. Like, hey, your truck, unless you want to put X amount of dollars into it, you can't buy a truck camper I have. I'll let some other idiot sell them whatever they want. Believe me, sorry to say this, not trying to put anybody down, but companies that are big corporations, sometimes they get a little desperate and sell people an Arctic Fox truck camper that they shouldn't have. And I'm okay losing that deal because I'm not going to be a part of the lawsuit when things go bad. That customer, unfortunately, it was an Arctic Fox 990 or bust. And when we put that 990 on the bed of his truck, I'm like, no way, dude. Not going to do it. I'll deliver it to your house once you have all the suspension work done. You need to put X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and then you need D, E, and F. Well, I'm not putting that kind of money into that truck. Okay. Here's your money back. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna endanger you and other people on the road. Not gonna happen. Unfortunately, a corporate dealership in Northern California sold him that Arctic Fox. Not gonna name names, but you can guess who it is by googling it. And they let him go. It takes research, takes time. They are. Arctic Fox truck campers are amazing because they're very well insulated. They're extremely well built. It's just it's hard to imagine. There's only like a couple on their level. Host is one of them. I don't sell them, but they're really heavy and really pricey. And Eagle Cap by Adventure is on par. You know, there's step downs that are nice. Northern Lights really nice. I don't sell them. Um, Alaskan campers are really nice. I don't sell them. Um, so there's some nice ones.